Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. My name is Ogbanje Joseph. Welcome to my channel. Please, please hit the subscribe button to subscribe to this channel. Like and of course share the video as well. Today we are going to be talking about the importance of sampling in a research. The importance of sampling in a research. What is a sample? What is a sample? A sample is a manageable section of a population. Is a manageable section of a population, but elements of which have common characteristics. Okay, now, a sample is a small proportion of the total population of the study. Okay? Now a sample is a small proportion of a population selected for observation and analysis. By analyzing the data obtained from the sample, one can make certain inferences about the characteristics of a population from which it is drawn. Okay, so now sample refers to any portion of a population selected for the study and on whom information needed for the study is obtained. So it is the elements making up the sample that are actually studied, and generalizations or inferences about this population are made. Okay, so this generalization of results, okay, based on the sample to the population is the major purpose of sampling, and also a major concern in any scientific investigation. Okay, so drawing inferences or generalizations about the population based on the data obtained from the based on the data obtained from the sample is of primary concern in any scientific investigation. Okay, so those are the things. Now, when we are talking about sampling, okay, we are actually talking about a small proportion, a small proportion from the entire population, okay, based upon whom, okay, the generalization can actually be made. Now, it is actually the sample size, the sample proportion, or the sample population that act that really is the population of the study. Because okay, now when you have population of the study, in order for you to reduce it to a samples to a manageable population, you have to bring in, sampling. You have to sample, you understand, you have to bring in sampling, reduce the population to a particular sample, and then you can now make your generalization based on the sampling. Okay, so sampling is actually very, very, very important in a particular research project. Okay, so knowledge of sampling is actually worthless if such knowledge cannot be extended to the population. So a measured estimate based upon simple or sample data is a statistic. Okay, so a population value inferred from a statistic is a parameter. So when we are talking about sampling, okay, we are actually saying that an entire population cannot be studied, because it will be cumbersome to study an entire population, because it will be time consuming, and of course, it's going to be very costly to do that. You understand? So in order for that to be taken care of, sample takes a fair portion of the representative of the entire population, so that, based on that small proportion of the entire population, a study can be made. Okay, now what are the importance of sampling in a research work? Now, the first importance is that it helps the researcher to reduce the population, to a manageable size for the purpose of drawing inference. Okay, for the purpose of drawing inference. Okay, that is actually number one. Number two, it helps the generalization or conclusion reached in a research work to reflect the position of the entire population. Okay, now sampling also helps, the researcher to actually reduce the population to a manageable size such that he'll be able to actually handle. Okay, so now let us go into so many types or so many formula. A lot of people have actually come up with formula, to arrive at sample, because of course you cannot reduce a population on your own. You necessarily need, a scientific process to do that. And how do you use a scientific process to reduce a population to a sample? It is by using a formula. There are so many formula that can be used. There is Taro Yamani formula. Okay, there is Nwana formula, there is Shiveli formula. There are so many formula that can be used, to actually reduce a population to sample. But what is important is that a sample population is is a plan. Okay, is actually a small proportion of of the entire population. Now let me give you a graphic example. For example, if you have 1,000 or 1 million, okay, of as the population of your study, and then you need to reduce it to a sample size, you need to use a formula, either Taro Yamani, Wana, or any other formula to reduce it. And if you are using the Taro Yamani formula, most times it will come down to 400 after applying it. Okay, so what is important is that you don't reduce the sample on your own or by yourself. You have to apply a formula. Now application of that formula makes the work more scientific, makes the work to be termed a research. Okay, because you cannot just on your own, based on your hunch, based on your expectation, based on your guesses, sit down and say, let me reduce the population. You can't do that. Okay, the best you can do is to actually use a particular formula, to reduce the population to a sample size. For example, if you have 1,000, 1,000,000, 500,000,000, you can reduce the sample, you understand, using several formula as I have explained before. Thank you very much.